All right, well, welcome to another Brewster podcast. It's Ted Schmidt, GM of the California Crusaders again, and Fred Holmes of Mexico City and Randy Weigand of San Fernando are back again with me, and we're going to talk about free agent signings because it's that time of year. Welcome, guys.
Cheers.
Hello.
Randy, are you hammered yet? I know you were drinking like 5 hours ago.
I actually stopped drinking after you told me to, but I'm drinking again now, so.
I didn't really tell you. You make you sound like your mom. I was just giving you a hard time because it was like 2 and you're like, I'm drinking. It's like, oh, well.
Hey, it was like 5 Eastern. Thank you very much.
Ted Schmidt, Fun Police.
Yeah, that's what I am. Right? I'm a lot of horrible things. So, usually what I ask when we start these is kind of what you guys thought about the free agent class and what was available. So, I guess I just asked that. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm drinking like Mike Calvaruso was when he opened up his checkbook.
Yeah, there's that. I think it's the big deal.
It's a lot of top-end talent, which is good. It's always nice to see that kind of thing happen because then, guys can try and get that piece while they still have young teams to build their own.
This is true.
And I thought that
there was actually, we always bitch about there not being people available. There were people available this time.
There were, but it was still a little weird, right? Like this year, there were good bats. There was top-end talent, good bats, better than we've seen in a long time. If you needed a starting pitcher,
there was one.
There was one. I mean, last year there were a bunch of those old, the Mario Gonzalez types, like a bunch of the bargain, and like anybody that needed like that bargain mid-rotation old starter, or even just a mid-rotation old starter was just out.
You mean the Mario Mendez special?
Yeah, more or less that. Okay, so let's jump right into it. We already mentioned San Antonio. Who wants to start?
I mean, first of all, does Mike think he's going to be good the next couple of years?
So I put some needs together for his team. Amazingly, like you wouldn't think it because he's been so bad, and this is the sound of me shuffling papers. Mike had about he still has about $10 million in cap space. He spent some participation points to get his budget up, which I think if he was going to do this was the right idea. I'm still unable to find my notes because I'm disorganized. Okay, there we go. So like. He really is pretty good for pitching, and he needed like middle infield help. He needed a center fielder. He needed an outfield bat that could actually hit, that wasn't all glove, and he needed to upgrade it like first and DH. Those things weren't all necessarily there. And if you look at the deals he signed, he's locked himself up for about 4 years, including this next one. Like,
there are no team options on any of those deals.
Right. There's one kind of odd opt-out on Angel de Castillo's. Well, Chang has team options. Has the team option player option, which I still
that's right, he does. He's got the team player. That's right.
And, I was looking. I don't think this is that bad. Like, usually I will kill people for overpays. That's what I do, right? I'm the grump, and I kill people for overpays. But
Fun police.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Again, fun police. But... I hate overpays. I still don't like looking at it. But when I look at his salary structure, he still have about $10 million or more in room, like 10 to 15 in room, even through these next 4 years. And he doesn't have a lot of arbs coming up. There are some good players that will, but he can probably fit those in. He's been the thing that makes his situation where a lot of guys I would kill for this. Calvaruso, I'm not, because he had to get talent into his system somewhere. And all of his recent top-end picks have died or been injured and died. Or died and then...
Pour one out for John Wick.
Yeah, it makes me so sad. But it's not just Wick. Even before that, he had somebody get hurt. I don't remember who, or not develop. And then, like, if you want to go back to last time they were good, Juan Jose Ornelas and Nelson Ramirez both, like, fell apart at 30.
Yep.
And my question, and Fred and I briefly talked about this before you came on, would he have been better off signing one of those guys in Lelouch?
I don't know. I think not. And the reason I think not is, now, one of those guys in McNeil, just signed De Castillo and McNeil, would he have been better? Absolutely. Calvaruso doesn't get enough bats. He never gets enough bats. He always has, like, gloves everywhere and good pitch. When his teams are good, it's pitchers all over the place and good gloves. And I just don't think...
He tried for bats this time, I'll give him that much.
Yeah. So what do we think of the individual deals? Looking at De Castillo.
De Castillo's probably my favorite deal of the 3.
What do you think he should have gotten?
20.
I had 17 to 18, but I'll take 20.
Yeah, he'd
I
have
mean,
gotten at least 20
fair value
anyway.
17 to 18. You're going to have to pay 20 to get him in
Okay,
free
yeah,
agency.
I'll buy that.
My concern with De Castillo is he's kind of an up and down player, right? Like he's
Right.
one of these up year down year guys that you're not got to pay 23 to 24 million across the board for the next 5 seasons probably, because I'm assuming he's not gonna opt out of that 23 and a half. But
Well,
you never know.
Who knows?
my
And-
comment was, is this JJ McQuaid part 2?
No, he's a way better player than JJ McQuaid. Like
He's also
I
paid
really
more than
believe it.
JJ McQuaid is.
Yeah, but he's also like, but Fred's got nailed it. I mean, he's only top 4 WAR half of his years, and it's not like those are because he missed injuries in the other one. He just I think if he was going to be a 4+ win player every year, but it doesn't bother me much at all. It's pricey, but it's what the market kind of demands right now. I don't, but you know,
Is that power real too?
I think so. And he's a second baseman too. Like I think it's real.
His parks is pretty much even for power. It's exactly even. It's 1 for home runs. Yellow Springs was at 996, 950 for left, 1020 for right.
Well, but I'm saying he's been in the 20s every year for power, and last year he hits 38.
Yeah, well, it's not that for real, but I mean, you know, I agree though. He's the one I like. It doesn't bother me because I think he really helped. I still think this is a big improvement for his team. So if you're going, I don't know that he's locked up now. So if this doesn't work, he's screwed. But I honestly don't know that he's going to have another chance in the next 4 seasons to, you know, I mean, if he's going to throw money around, it wasn't the worst way to do it. And I don't think this is going to hurt him in keeping his own guys. And that's one of the biggest deals with doing this is to not do that. I don't like Chang, Fred, and you talked about going after him yourself. So you like him more than I do.
Well, I like his profile as a player. Like that's one of my favorite hitting profiles, just because you can berate me all you want for this, but I'm a contact avoid K's guy, and I live and die by it. So, and he's a captain. I mean,
I like the captain thing's hard to rate. I think they do matter. I think we have seen that like the guys that are total like team disasters that everybody hates make your team worse. I think the captains do matter. It's hard to price how much. I don't mind the contact ABK guys. I just don't like paying them like they're middle of the order bats.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay him $18 million. If I was going to pay him $18 million, I'd have just extended him and he never would have hit FA.
So what would you have paid him?
I wouldn't have paid him at all because I had Gipper in AAA. So I mean, it's really irrelevant what he had been asking for. He'd have been on the market anyway.
I'd consider him 10 to 12.
Yeah, I'd put him right around there. I was going to say 10 when you asked that. So
yeah,
his outfield range just bumped back up to 5. It was 4 for most of last year, so that helps.
Yeah, but I mean, still, you're looking at that thinking this guy's going to be a DH before this contract is over, and that's really what makes it's a little bit scary to me. He'll be either be a DH or a disaster in the corner outfield spot. Yep. The other thing that's I think kind of remarkable about him is, he's only been over 2 WAR one time.
Yep.
One time. That's a little.
And he had to hit 350 to do it.
Right. He's got a lot of empty batting average, and I guess I shouldn't say that necessarily because it's not. He's not there are empty batting average players. He's not really one of them, but he is all singles. He is all just hitting the ball and scooting along, and that's fine. You can definitely, as you've shown over and over, Fred, you can win with players like that. But I think recognizing that they're one incredible talent.
There's probably one player in this league with that profile that's worth $18 million, and his name is Mons Raider.
Yeah, now Mons, and he's worth more than that.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what I mean.
Yeah, I still think this guy's a 3-win player these next few years. I think I looked at his development curve, and some of those early years he wasn't fully developed, and I think these next 3 years it's really not going to be so bad again. Because San Antonio wasn't going to put the money anywhere else, and he'll be a 3-win, maybe even a 4-win player sometimes. Those last couple of years, though.
Well, and at least he's still young, so there's a chance that this deal it only takes him through 32.
Yeah. It's okay. Again, this is okay. Like these are overpays, but they're not like the worst we've seen. I will tell you that I do not like the Nitro Gonzalez deal.
No.
Although Nitro's better than I thought he was.
He is,
I'll give
right?
him that.
I looked at him and I was like, oh man, he's got a bunch of 3-win seasons and some 4-win seasons before, and but this just looks so much like you paid for a 32-year-old who had a career year, and he's got Dan Norman on the roster, and Dan Norman's nothing amazing, but I don't know that Nitro Gonzalez is worth $20 million more than you would just had Dan Norman. And you asked earlier, like, would you rather have for these prices? Right now, the players have been signed. Would you trade these 2 contracts? Would you trade Nitro and Gonzalez and Chang for Lucas McNeil?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, and that's where I am with this too. I think it's, I don't know. But again, I usually just kind of do some notes up on budget available and how much they have left. But I actually looked at San Antonio's financial structure the next few years and
just because they spent a ton of money,
right? And who they can expect to arb. And I don't think these are going to hurt him. Like, I don't think this is somebody just not thinking about the future. I think Cal Russo's frustrated, and he even said he had to do something different. He had to change it up. I don't know if this is exactly how I would do it, but it doesn't not make sense at all. It's just
the bullets he had available to fire this offseason is pretty much what it was. So
right, and this is the best free agency we've seen in what, a decade? Like, we might get more of these, but are we definitely going to? I don't know. So
Ted, how many times do we knock people on here for not spending money when they have it? Well,
right, yeah, we can't have both, right? We can't. Well, I do both all the time. We spend too much. Again, just in my role as the fun police. Okay, so we beat San Antonio to death. Let's move along. This one should be pretty quick, because I think we all agree. Phoenix. I had Phoenix needing starting pitching, and they're now over the cap. But they signed.
Yep.
They signed Lelouch.
They went thinking he's the final piece. The question is he?
Oh, they got to stay. They got to stay healthy. I mean, he'd have been a better team last year, but his pitching staff just went through the grinder.
His entire rotation was out, right? And the top 2, Trujillo and Corrigan. Is that who his top 2 are?
Yeah, last year
they're legitimately good. He now is one of the best 1-2-3s in the league. I do think the last couple of years of Lelouch's deal are going to get ugly, and he'll be 35 and 36, and he's going to have to dump this deal or some deal, or he's going to lose good young players later on and have to trade them. So I think, but I think this is absolutely the right deal for Marco to make. I mean,
I agree. When I saw that he signed him, I was like, yep.
Yeah, that's
I'll do that.
Yeah, not necessarily. You don't want like not no-brainer quality, but like
it makes
absolutely
sense.
The right thing to do.
Yep.
Okay, so that was fast. Good job, Marco.
Good job. Thumbs up.
Wichita? Is Wichita in that division?
They signed a shit ton of guys.
Stu being Stu.
Yeah. Yep. They're all Stu players too, right? Like. Well, not all of them, but Brian Clough's his guy, and for $1 million he could be okay.
The OBP will still play. I hit OBP and clubhouse value will pay for itself.
Right. He needs a lot of things. He needs a front end starter. He needed third base. He needed to upgrade at first base. He needed some corner outfield help. He had a lot of money.
Well, he tried to spend it on Ramiro Moreno and Lou Driscoll.
Yeah. What do you think about Romero? I'll get to Driscoll in a second, but what do you think about the Romero Moreno? I think we talked about him signing a couple of years ago, and we're excited about it. But you're
going to laugh. My comment for this is, it seems like I should hate this, but I just don't, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am, too. Like, I think he's probably... It depends on how much that lump is. Like, if he was just over 8 and now he's a 7, just under 8 contact, okay. I think that this is just one of those deals where it's like, that's about right.
Well, he dumped the point of power, too.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it's okay. I don't agree. Somebody posted regarding Driscoll that nobody ever seems to want him, and it's about time somebody signed him, and I disagree 100%.
Why do people think he's good, and why does he get a 4-year guaranteed contract?
He is horrible. He will be a disaster at third base, and his bat's not good enough to play first or DH.
One of us on this podcast has employed Lou Driscoll, so maybe
me. I was going to say he was a disaster at third for me 2 years ago, and he's lumped the point and infield range since then. So,
right.
I had such high hopes for Lou Driscoll when I got him because I'd been I bugged Ed about him a number of times, like, hey, you should trade me that Driscoll guy if you're just going to DH him. I'll play him at third. And then I got him, and then I played him at third, and I was like, oh god.
You realize why I didn't play him?
Now I know why you're DHing him. Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me either.
Yeah.
I just think there's some guys that just aren't worth any amount of money. Like there's no I can't imagine a roster that I want Lou Driscoll on.
He's
sure I can. My AA roster.
Yeah.
Right.
He in 2033 and 34 combined, he put up a negative 29.8 zone rating at third base between those two seasons.
Holy shit.
That's impressive.
So the other player in here is somebody that I always thought could play a little bit, and could be. Yeah, right. Why does he suck?
I tried to sign him last year, and glad I didn't.
All right, if he doesn't, I mean, he's like a all 8s and 7s and 6s versus left. The guy should be able to hit a little. Like that could be a steal, but if I had to bet whether or not it'll matter, I would say that it won't because Stromby has just sucked.
Considering my quote for this was sure, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not paying him any money. I mean.
That's why it's the lowest risk contract imaginable.
Yeah.
Right. And Adam Johnson is a stew player, right? He's a defensive Swiss Army knife stew. Like to have a couple of those at all times.
And for $1 million a year, I mean, you could do worse.
Right.
Yeah.
And for Juan Martinez, my note was meh. Right.
He's fine if you're putting him in the bullpen, but if you're planning on starting him, that ain't gonna go well.
Yeah. And Vicente Acevedo, I'm kind of a steal on. Like, yeah, sure, why not? 42-year-old lefty.
Screw it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
He'll do some stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered those teams. Where are we?
Vegas.
Got two more. You want to do you next, Fred, or you want to talk about Vegas?
We can talk about me. It's gonna be a quick one too, because I spent more in IFA than I did in regular free agency by a significant margon. So.
Okay.
Campbell's.
And you took guys I wanted.
Yeah, I was basically just trying to sign guys that Randy wanted to sign.
Of them.
Yeah.
Campbell's low risk. He's coming off a big injury, and if he makes it through the season, great. I mean, he's a righty killer, 9.79. He's going to struggle against lefties, but he's a good bullpen piece. That's a fun area I felt I had an opportunity to improve was bullpen, so that was easy one. Same thing with Contreras. I needed a lefty. He's not super impressive.
No, but he'll be a good loogie.
Yeah, it's a one year deal. I'm not going to pick up that option for next year unless he does something
Why
phenomenal.
didn't you give Campbell an option?
Because I only signed him for 1 year.
Yeah, but why didn't you give him like another, just throw a team option on for next year?
I don't know. Just figured I could extend him if I needed to, but
Okay.
I don't know because I didn't think of it at the time as more.
You have 17 million cap space. Do you have any cash left, or did you blow all that? You can't sign anyone.
I have cash left.
Because I had you as kind of needing an impact bat.
I know, but I wasn't going to pay $30 million for McNeil, and I wasn't going to pay a guaranteed 6-year deal to any of the guys that San Antonio signed.
Well, now that he's only asking for $6 million for 3 years, would you be in on Sandcastle?
Shut up, Ted. You shut your mouth.
I don't need a corner outfielder.
Yeah, but you could DH him.
Yeah, I could, Ted, but then what do I do with Augie?
Be quiet.
Ted. Oh yeah, I forgot about Augie. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Ted, be quiet. Yeah. Sandcastle's coming to the percent.
I've got some stuff brewing. Hopefully that's going to use up some of my remaining cash and cap space here. Okay. So don't you worry. I'm planning to spend it.
All right. Well, let's move on to Vegas then. I had them as needing a front-end starting pitcher and just a little bit of a hitting upgrade. I mean, they're good, but they just don't look like Vegas. They're good for everybody else, but I'm missing a masher in their order somewhere.
Well, they got him in a trade.
Who did they get?
Wishart from Twin Cities.
Oh yeah, okay. Forgot about that. I mean, I haven't done really the trade stuff yet, so I need to look into that. They did sign some guy whose name I write so poorly. Is it Salvarani?
Alphonse Salvarini.
I think it's Ronnie. I think it's Ronnie.
It's Ronnie.
I think it's a pretty good find, honestly, for $900K. I've seen more money go to worse players. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's about all I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Low
risk, low reward.
All right, let's jump up to the Atlantic and start with the Atlantic City.
Good, 3 teams that did nothing. This will be quick.
Well, Atlantic City needed starting. They needed top end starters. They needed shortstop. They needed something that I can't read. And
didn't you used to be Tully Crow?
Yeah, right.
Tully will be a good pickup for 20 innings before he gets hurt.
Yeah, and Mike Manning. Maybe
Mike Manning's a fan favorite, so getting him for $820, if nothing else, you get some more season tickets out of it, and you're good there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
They really didn't have the cap space to get the starters they needed, and there weren't starters, so it's hard to blame them for much about this free agency, right? It's just kind of,
and if you think about it, if Tully can stay healthy, that's good. But
yeah, okay.
You're betting on
I
Nate.
don't know. If it's good.
3 years ago, he threw 204
so
innings.
badly. I don't know that it's good if he stays healthy. I think, well, he could be a number 5 starter, I suppose. Okay, Brooklyn. I don't know how to evaluate Brooklyn's pitching staff with the Cyclone.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Like Rita's like, I don't know. This could
I don't
be.
even know what I'm looking at.
Right.
Well, I think he said somewhere that he's going to do Ruiz and Flores as like legitimate starters, and then just Cyclone the rest.
There's a wall cloud.
Maybe. You know what though? He needed some things, and he couldn't get them. And the reason he couldn't get them is that he is currently $20 million over his budget, which is like there's another team that it was Phoenix. When Phoenix got traded to get over their budget, I was kind of like, yeah, that's cool. And then I did Brooklyn, and Brooklyn's $20 million over their budget, which is impressive.
Well, he's literally said.
He's doing this. He's doing this on purpose. Yeah, it's just funny. Like it's just pretty cool. But he needed the catcher. He needs a shortstop, and he needs better infield defense. His infield defense is garbage. It's really impressive.
How dare you besmirch Chris Workman?
Well, like Workman at third with that arm bump might actually end up being marginal. Like not acceptable, but marginal.
He's better than Lou Driscoll.
But it'll take him a while to get there is the problem. Belcham is really not impressive at second.
Is he going to play in at second?
I don't know. But then if he doesn't,
do we know anything Brooklyn's going to do?
No, we have no idea. You just look at the roster and it's just just bizarre, weird. Like who's his
infield Cyclone?
Who's his shortstop?
Probably if it was me, I'd play this Arif Atalas guy.
Right, but that's just a hole, right? Essentially, like the glove's good, but it's just essentially a replacement level player because the bat's so freaking bad.
He's got 2 gloves on his hands and no bat. That's for sure. And he doesn't have the full lineup of mashers or like screw it. I'm just gonna score 12 runs a game and I don't give a fuck how many I allow.
Right, like you can play no defense if you just beat the shit out of the baseball, and he's got some good ones in there. He's got Martinez and Balderas and Cruz and Guerrero, so that's.
I was gonna say he's got some. He has power mashing bats.
Yeah,
or guys that might
go up there with
a spaghetti string.
To overcome this kind of defense, you either need an amazing pitching staff, which maybe he has. Who knows what the hell he has, and or you need to have a Jacksonville style offense where you're just going to score 1,000 runs every year, and I don't know that his offense is quite that good because once you get past the elite guys, it falls off pretty damn fast. So I don't know what Brooklyn is. Because Alan, we don't know what Brooklyn is.
Yeah, I haven't known what he is for quite some time. It's kind of fun to watch. Every time he PMs me, I tell him in the reply, I have a lot of fun watching you work, but I have no idea what you're doing.
Right. It's great. It's really good. I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's.
I'm also you and Tyler are going to have fun next year when he sells off all these pieces. In the trade podcast.
God damn it! No, I don't.
You might have to do a separate Allen podcast and then do everybody else in the league.
Charm City. Charm City needs a lot of things, and this list just goes on forever. I was going to say the individual things, but I decided not to because they need lots, and they didn't sign much.
I kind of like what they did, though.
I think
it's weird because they're not going to contend.
And they can maybe trade both those guys?
They signed bridge pieces that they can flip.
Yeah. Tor's a good deal for a decent player.
Maybe. I don't know if anyone's going to trade for Giroir,
though. Maybe, well, what if he's, just on fire?
Yeah, it could be, I guess. But what are the odds of that?
But right. even if he ends up keeping him, that's a fine deal. It's not like he overpaid for him.
No, somebody has to play. And the same thing with Matt Mills. But the weird thing about Matt Mills is, Bishke had that really long kind of thread about what people thought he was worth, and he ended up signing. I think he was asking for $12 million a year, and goes to free agency and ends up signing for $3 million. And I guess my question is I wonder why Mike wasn't in on him. If he got that low,
Did you see all the pictures Mike did sign?
I did see that. I have some thoughts about that. We'll get to that.
Oh, so do I.
I don't know. Charm City's not real exciting. I think Slock, he did mention that he was in on some of the elite talent. He just got outbid.
Well, he was also no, he was
Yeah, he had
in on some of the.
missed export too.
Yeah,
oh, that's
he was
what. Okay.
He was in on the IFA guy. It was the big IFA, the first IFA one,
Oh, that's right. I think he was. I think. Oh, I thought I remember him commenting about bids on players.
where he's like, "I swear I exported," but it's like,
Pro-
no.
Probably outbid me on all my guys.
Yeah. I thought Montreal needed bullpen help, and I thought they needed to improve their. Again, this. I thought you want to talk about Brooklyn's infield.
Montreal also, to be fair, Montreal had a GM that didn't export all off season and is now gone.
A bad time to have an inactive GM for that team.
Wait, so is Cooper's gone?
Well, not public knowledge yet, but yes.
So he's the second one because he took over at the beginning of the offseason.
Yeah.
Yes. Because Gary asked out, and then Cooper just decided not to export.
Well, crap. Well, then who signed players? Was that? Oh, the no signings. Okay, no one did.
Yep. Moving on.
Yeah.
Well, because it wasn't an announced vacancy, so Recty's not gonna when Nashville a couple years ago when we knew they didn't have a GM.
Right.
Recty signed a whole bunch of guys to those 2-year deals.
You want to talk about bad infield defense, though? You're 7 at second. You've got Mark Dempsey in his no range at third, and Luis Gonzalez in his 6 at shortstop. That is just
Luis Gonzalez needs to play second.
Yeah. And this is just what the computer's doing.
But then where do you play Kel Bacon?
Right. But this is the problem with this team. They've got too many marginal defenders. And if you put Bacon back in the outfield, where do you play Benjamin Dale? And if you put Benjamin Dale at DH, where do you play Martin? It's just they have problems.
Yeah.
And Lafitte's obviously got Lafitte should be DHing.
You're
that
right.
Guy's
yeah.
One range.
All right, so Rockville's easy too, right? Rockville's really, really good, and they have no holes and needed nothing and signed no one.
I would just like to point out that I picked them to win the Landis in our last podcast. That's all. That's all I'm going to say.
I'd like to point out that I picked myself to lose in the finals, which I did.
I'd like to point out that I did horribly. I got everything wrong.
I had myself losing to Jacksonville, but I did have myself losing in the Landis.
Well, congratulations, Randy. You picked yourself to suck. Good job. Well, not suck.
Hey, good enough to beat you.
Oh.
Okay.
California on California crime.
Yeah, we're terrible. Sometimes.
There's a lot of that going around.
There's a lot of that going around. Southeast then, right? Let's start with Huntsville.
Hey, another Mike Manning.
I didn't know there was a Mike Manning left fielder. That confused the shit out of me for a little bit.
I didn't know there was a Mike Manning relief pitcher. I only knew of the Mike Manning left fielder.
Oh.
There's an Enrique Gomez first baseman, too.
Oh, that's neat. That probably messes with you a lot.
You should sign him just to say you have Enrique Gomez on your roster.
And then pitch him.
So Huntsville, I think Stever is, we all hate to compliment Stever because, I don't know, it's kind of a fun thing now to hate to give Stever credit. But he needed his problem last year was, he didn't have platoon halves. He was just too left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he
really... He's Stever.
Yeah, I think he fixed that this year, right? Travis Lair is a douche canoe, so he could get rid of him.
Lara's also on waivers. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Okay, good. But I like the Mike Manning pickup. I think he's going to be you need a couple of those guys to come in for your left-handed corner outfield bats. And I think Manning's a perfect fit for that. I think he could be really good.
Yeah, Manning's fine. Coda, if he sees more than 100 plate appearances, he's wrong.
Well, but the problem is that Brian Sullivan is no prize anymore. So shortstop's just a weak spot. That's what it's going to be for Huntsville, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And then Rutledge.
Rutledge would have been the bat that I went for. Stever hadn't assigned him.
I would be ecstatic, right, with that deal for Rutledge.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, is that the best deal in free agency?
But I like it. The issue is he had the power spike last year, but that average in OBP has been sliding steadily.
It has, and he's getting older. But $10 million. I'm not saying this is going to be the Rutledge from 3-4 years ago, but he's going to be a 3-win bat.
Oh, it's still a good deal. I will get to what I think is the best of free agency. I think this is probably the best of the Johnson.
Okay, that's fair. The other thing is that Jacksonville has been playing him at first.
Yeah.
That's for a long time. I know he used to try to find a way to hide him at DH because he's not the best first baseman. But moving to DH might actually help. If I'm imagining Stever's going to DH him.
Stever's got him at first in his lineup right now because he's got Hall DHing. Because Hall is a miserable corner outfielder.
Yeah, because Stever's got a ton of outfielders that he needs to do.
Well, Stever once told me he never really believed in first base defense very much. He may be right. Who knows? I don't. It's probably, if you're going to suck at a position, it's probably the one that hurts you the least.
That's probably fair.
I thought this was a great free agency. I think Huntsville did a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
Can we dock him for Travis Lara? Because
well, he wasn't. I don't think Stever was Stever back during all the Travis Lara as an asshat conversations. Does he not know?
Nah, I don't know.
I think he was.
But I mean, you don't have to know he's an asshat. Just look at his numbers, and he's not only an asshat, but he sucked.
He's a terrible asshat.
Like, he's just been bad. It's one thing if you're good and you're just an asshat, and you can maybe he doesn't like. But Lara hasn't even been good.
I know.
Change his nickname to bench warmer.
So this is an even better free agency because he signed Lara and we get to talk about him. I mean, how much more boring would this podcast have been if we couldn't find creative slurs to talk about Travis Lara? Jacksonville.
Nobody.
Jacksonville always, every time I look at this, Tyler always needs a little bit better starting pitcher. Not a whole spot, he's not missing a spot, but if one of them was just slightly better, and he never gets it, and it doesn't matter because he always hits the shit out of the ball.
Or he signs some 35-year-old guy that we think is done, and then, or in the case of Vicente Acevedo, a 41-year-old guy who turns out to be.
Right. Yeah. So, no signings. They had $17 million in space. This is another one where we talked about spending versus not spending, and this is where I think not spending is a great idea. Jacksonville's got young players who are going to have to arb and extend people. And
the pitching wasn't there for him anyway.
Right. I was going to say, this is where he needed those pitching classes from a couple of years ago where you could sign a Mendez or a Gonzalez for 1 year.
Yeah, but he's still fine, right? He's got Bender and Gralla, Solis.
Wouldn't burn your space for arb guys, but you could improve your team this year.
Right, no, that's fair. Yeah, the shorter contract deal. Louisville, we're cruising along. I like it, guys. We talked about not rambling aimlessly. So if we continue to go at this speed, we'll have a whole 20 minutes to ramble aimlessly at the end.
Yes. Amen. We'll circle back to Travis Lara.
So Louisville, I like the structure of Quezada, but it's at least 2 times too much money.
Yeah, I don't know, Fred.
I was trying to sign Quezada for just a little bit less than that, so.
I think Quezada is the guy that if he's you need some third tier starters on your team because you just can't have you can, but it's pretty hard to have just stars and even second tier starters at every position. And I think Quezada can start for a winning team. I think he's that fill out a roster guy. And I don't think I wouldn't say 2. If I had him for 3.8, I would be okay with that. Yep.
That's great, but Louisville's going to suck.
Yeah, that's the whole point. It's not the right player for him. But on the other hand, this doesn't hurt him.
Right.
It's fine. I don't know. Another thing I noticed, there weren't starting pitchers, and if you wanted first base, DH, or center field, it was pretty thin.
Yeah.
So, just weird. How often you go to a free agency and you're I don't know where I'm going to get a DH.
I don't know. Red dumped a bunch of center fielders on the market.
None of them were any good.
I did. Who did I dump on the market? Just Roy Lynn.
Yeah, just Lynn.
Well, Lawson's sitting out there now.
Oh yeah, he's on waivers, but he's terrible now. So
Nashville's got an interesting signing. Does
that surprise you?
No.
The plan.
Well, I know Nashville was in on Chang.
I'm glad he didn't get him.
I know he wasn't paying him anywhere near 18.
I would way rather have Arthur Norris for this deal than Chang.
Yep.
Not even close.
First of all, I don't see any way those options get picked up whatsoever.
I agree. And that means he paid 17, 16, and 14.5. And I don't know why I haven't liked Arthur Norris. When I was Tyler and I were going to do a trade podcast, but we couldn't get it together. But when I was reviewing the deals, I thought he was kind of a throw-in in the deal to Rockville just for a cap thing. But he's still kind of a good player. I don't know why I didn't think he was, but he's still a 3-win hitter. And that's kind of cool.
I mean, you got to spend the money somewhere, right? We always this circles back to what I said earlier. We kill people for not spending money, and this is a great example of. I mean, he's not if he doesn't pick up those options, which I'd be stunned if he did.
Well,
he's not going to have any. I mean, he's going to have some ARB guys in this time frame, but he's not going to have any actual extensions.
Well, and that gave him a 5th bat, right? Now half of his lineup is legitimately well above average to star level bats. right?
Yeah.
Like, Kamada,
Which-
Young, Suarez, Jackson, Norris is a pretty damn good 1 through 5.
Yeah.
I don't know, Fred. Any more thoughts on Norris? I don't know why I don't like him.
I would be concerned. I was just gonna say I'd be concerned about him lumping, but he hasn't lumped in 2 years, 3 years now. So
Right, like
I don't know.
Has he settled in as this being his new norm?
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, if this is his new norm, he's fine. He's 6 contacts lefty with 9 power and 8 eye, like against righties. He's a good platoon bat, and that's. I mean,
he'll struggle against Huntsville, but other than that,
Right. And then, Danny
Danny
Lopez is a
Lopez?
waste of $1.5 million.
I hate Danny Lopez.
that Danny Lopez will put butts in the seats, and that's it.
We should all spend 1 PP to make him retire, just the league as a whole, just to make him go away.
Why do you hate Danny Lopez?
He's just terrible. His ratings have been good, and his hitting has been bad.
Oh, it's just you're just like pissed that
his
he's a
whole
liar, that he's just a fucking fraud, like
Yeah,
for his
exactly.
whole career. Yeah, okay,
That's
I can buy that.
Like I said, Lopez he's gonna get people to come to the games and watch him suck.
No, he's not. He's
No, he's
locally
not.
and nationally
Yeah.
insignificant.
I thought he was more. Did
Nobody
I miss
gives-
that?
He used to be,
shits
but
about
he's
Danny
played
Lopez.
himself into garbage level. Like, just he used to
I
be
thought
popular.
I thought he was actually like popular. Is he a fan favorite or something?
He's a captain.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Captain.
Yeah, well, that's something then. Okay.
Maybe he'll command the fans to come to the game.
You know what Danny Lopez could do? What he has always done is he has always hit left-handed. He has always hit left-handed pitching. He has always done that. So, like, so what you're saying is in in 5 more seasons, you'll be talking about Jimmy Stromby like you are currently about Danny Lopez.
It's distinctly possible.
Yeah.
But the stupid thing is, if you look at Lopez, because I did that active spreadsheet, like he's got his career numbers are not terrible.
No, they're not, but he's a DH, and they need to be better than that for a DH.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing, but you look at it, it's like, how the hell does he have this many home runs and hits?
He's been around forever, man.
I know, but
Been playing a long time.
We did it. We finished the Johnson.
Boom.
no. Well, we missed New Orleans, who signed nobody.
Oh,
Oh well, now we're finished the Johnson.
all right. Who won the Johnson?
Huntsville.
Yeah, I think Huntsville. I think they had the best contract, and overall they won the Johnson.
Either Huntsville or Phoenix.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Oh,
Huntsville.
Stever got multiple pieces, but Marco got one
You can't-
piece that he needed.
But I don't think you can talk about Lelouch's contract and say he's going to have to get rid of it in 3 or 4 years and then say he won. I don't
Well,
think you can do that.
yeah. Yeah. Okay. 1 and 1A. Is that fair?
Sure.
Is anybody like a big loser? I actually don't think I saw anybody where usually there's a team out of 15 teams I can find one where I'm just like, nope, gross. But I don't think there was one this year. There were some that were like non-impactful or don't really matter, but I don't think anybody really hurt themselves too badly, right?
I mean, Wichita signed a whole bunch of guys that don't matter.
But they didn't pay him any money.
Yeah, and this is the weird thing is that Wichita was kind of good last year, like sneaky, not horrible.
They were like
Yeah.
mid-70s, weren't they?
Yeah, I wonder, like, it just feels like they had a lot of, they still got 32 mil left. You almost wonder if this is going to be kind of a missed opportunity here for them to move up some.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think if Jesus Gonzalez puts up like 1 WAR this season, it's going to be easy to pick on San Antonio and say that he wasted a lot of money. But
Yeah, San Antonio, I think, is out. I don't want to. I don't know. Again, like I spent a lot of time looking at this before we got here, and I really can't kill him for these because I don't think they're going to hurt him.
I love Mike's gusto about it. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Like every sim, there was another player, or maybe not. Like it just felt like it kept coming.
Honestly, I thought he was done, and then all of a sudden it's like, nope, he signed Gonzalez.
Yeah. Still got lots of money to spend.
Yeah. Okay, so possible big loser, San Antonio, but I think Mike's not going to be surprised if that happens.
Nah.
Yeah. He's going into this eyes wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to your point, I mean, he knows what he signed up for. Like he's locked in for the next 4 years, but he doesn't have anything big hitting between now and then. So
And he's got Jurigs the Mad coming up.
Well, and if it doesn't work out,
you just got to keep him away from Madison's second baseman. That'll be a bad deal for him. Just trust me. Moving on. Continue.
Okay.
We'll take a little break here. This is the end of part 1. Part 2 will be the Freak League free agency, and Randy and Fred will be back for that. Thanks for listening.